Good morning, dear children. Let's continue the chapter, the Union Legislature. We have already begun this chapter and we have studied about the Constitution, Parliament, and the Lok Sabha. In our today's class, we will talk about the Rajya Sabha. What is Rajya Sabha? Rajya Sabha is referred to as the upper house of the Parliament. It represents the 29 Indian states and the 7 Union territories. The Rajya Sabha is not subject to dissolution. It is a permanent body, but one-third of its members retire after every second year. Thereafter, fresh elections are announced for the seats vacated at the beginning of the third year. Each member enjoys a 6-year term and is eligible for re-election. The Rajya Sabha is the upper house of the Union Parliament. It is the representative body of the states of the Indian Union. The term of Rajya Sabha. The members hold a term of 6 years. Rajya Sabha is a quasi-permanent body. Its one-third members retire every 2 years, as I have told you in our last slide. The Vice President of India is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Composition and method of election. According to the Constitution, the Rajya Sabha shall be composed of not more than 250 members, of whom 238 shall be representatives of the states and the union territories, and the remaining 12 shall be nominated by the President. The present strength of the Rajya Sabha is 245 members, out of which 233 represent the states and the union territories, and 12 are nominated. The number of seats for each state and union territory is fixed according to the population. Uttar Pradesh sends 31 members to the Rajya Sabha, while Goa and northeastern states send only 1 member each. Delhi, on the other hand, sends 3 members to the Rajya Sabha. The representation of the state is given on the basis of the size of the population of the state. 238 members are representatives of states, 12 members are nominated by the President. Is equals to Rajya Sabha consists of 250 members. The representatives of each state shall be elected by the elected members of the Legislative Assembly of that state in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. The representatives of the Union Territories shall be indirectly elected by members of an electoral college for that territory as Parliament by law prescribes, in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. The Electoral College comprises members of the Municipal Corporation, District Board, etc. Now we will study the qualification of the members. Members of Rajya Sabha should be a citizen of India and of at least 30 years of age. He or she should also be a registered voter. He or she should not be a resident of the state from which he or she is seeking election for a minimum of 6 months. He or she should not hold any office of or profit under the union or a state government. He or she should not be a convict, a confirmed debtor, or otherwise disqualified by any law. He or she should be of sound mind. The presiding officer of the Rajya Sabha. The Vice President is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. He is elected by the members of an electoral college consisting of members of both houses of Parliament. The Rajya Sabha also elects one of its members to the deputy chairman. When the Vice President assumes the role of the President of India, the deputy chairman performs the functions of the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. The functions of the chairman of the Rajya Sabha are similar to those of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, except that the Speaker has certain special powers for certifying money bills and presiding over a joint sitting of the two houses as mentioned earlier. The powers and functions of both the houses. It has the legislative functions. The Parliament is competent to make laws on the following That is list 1, which is the union list, comprises 97 subjects. The union has exclusive powers over subjects mentioned in this list like defense, external affairs, banking, taxes, etc. List 3 is the concurrent list comprising 47 items. The union and state legislature have equal powers, but in case of a conflict of interest, the union law prevails. The subjects include criminal law and procedure, civil procedure, marriage, education, economic and social planning, etc. Such a provision make a constitution quasi-federal in character. It is federal in form but unitary in spirit. Normally, the state legislature make laws on the subjects in the state list. However, the parliament also make laws on these subjects on the following conditions: during the national emergency, and if Rajya Sabha passes a resolution by two-third majority, that is, a subject in the state list assumed national importance. The legislative functions of the union list. Primary function is to make laws on the 97 subjects in the union list and 47 subjects in the concurrent list. If there is a conflict between parliament and state legislature on any law in concurrent list, union law will prevail. What's a state list? The parliament can also make laws on a subject of the state list if two or more states desire that the parliament should legislate, but that would be applicable only to the accepting states. The parliament also has residuary powers. Let's talk about the ordinances. All proclamation made by the president during emergency must be approved by parliament within a month. The president may issue ordinances during the interval between the two sessions of the parliament, but these are to be laid before the parliament as soon as the parliament comes in session, and must get the approval of the parliament within 6 weeks after the beginning of the session. The financial powers, budget and taxes. Introduction and passage of financial bills involving expenditure from the Consolidated Fund of India. It can delay the passage of money bill by a maximum of 14 days but cannot affect its passage in any other way. The Parliament exercises control over national finance. No tax can be imposed or money expended without the approval of the Parliament. The Lok Sabha has exclusive power in financial matters than the Rajya Sabha. In the Parliament, the Lok Sabha is having the control over the financial matters. It passes the annual budget for the coming financial year. So you must have seen the finance minister passes the annual budget every year. It may be in February or March. Financial year passes the annual budget in Lok Sabha. If the amount authorized by the budget is inadequate, the parliament makes the provision of supplementary grant. Money can also be raised through vote of account under special circumstances till the budget is passed. The salaries and allowances of ministers shall be such as parliament may from time to time determine by law. The judicial powers, that is the impeachment. The president may also be removed before the expiry of the term through impeachment for violating the Constitution of India by the Parliament of India. The process may start in either of the two houses of the Parliament. The House initiates the process by levelling the charge against the President. The Parliament possesses the exclusive right to remove the President, judges of the Supreme Court, High Courts, and other officers like the Election Commissioner and the Comptroller and the Auditor General from the office through a special procedure called impeachment. The resolution of this effect is passed by two-third majority of the members present and via voting, and that must not be less than simple majority of total membership of the House. If the other House finds guilty, she or he may be impeached and removed from the office. The punishment from the Parliament. The Parliament may punish a person for defamation or contempt of the House. Defamation or contempt here means mortification, scandal, insult, slander, or you can say it as a stain or exception or reproach, anything. There may be so many terms like manhani, badnami, apwad, ninda, upbhashan. These all are the terms of defamation or contempt. The Parliament can make laws regulating the composition, jurisdiction, and powers of the Supreme Court. The elective functions, that is the electoral functions, this may not be in the book, but I am giving you as per the advantage. Elective functions of the Parliament includes the election of the President and Vice President. The Electoral College for the election of the President consists of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha members and the members of the state legislative assemblies. Vice President is elected by the members of both the houses, as you have already known. Now we will study the main point, that is the constitutional functions, amendment of the Constitution. Parliament has the power to amend the Constitution. It can amend the Constitution anytime. Both houses of the Parliament enjoy equal powers in the amendment of the Constitution. Some provisions of the Constitution can be amended with simple majority of the Parliament whenever necessary. Some articles of the Constitution can be amended only by absolute majority, that means two-thirds majority of members present and voting, and that must not be less than simple majority of total membership of the House. In some specified matters, amendment requires that ratification or approval of the half of the legislative assemblies of the states. In our last slide, we used a ratification term, that means bahali. Special powers of the Rajya Sabha. On two provisions, Rajya Sabha has more powers than the Lok Sabha. First, it can declare that a subject in the state list has assumed national importance, and the Parliament can make laws on it by passing a resolution by a two-thirds majority of members present and voting. And the second is the Rajya Sabha can decide to set up an all India service in the similar way. So these are the two provisions Rajya Sabha. This has more powers than the Lok Sabha. These two powers are the exclusive powers of the Rajya Sabha. If the Lok Sabha is dissolved before or after the declaration of a national emergency, then the Rajya Sabha takes over the functions of the Parliament. It's the important point. Now we will study the special powers of the Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha has no control over the ministers, whereas ministers are collectively and individually responsible to the Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha has no right to bring a no confidence motion against the Council of Ministers. The Lok Sabha has the power to bring the no confidence motions. No money bill can be introduced in Rajya Sabha, whereas money bill can only be introduced in Lok Sabha. These are the major powers of the Lok Sabha than the Rajya Sabha. So children, here we bind up with the chapter. I will give you the notes, some notes I have given. The remaining I'll give you in the next class. Till then, take care. Bye.